Good morning. The National Governors Association just wrapped up just wrapped up its annual meeting in White Silver Springs, West Virginia, hosted by Governor Thomas and his Virginia team, West Virginia team. And now it's less than a year away from us hosting the National Governors Association 2016 summer meeting here in Iowa. My wife Chris and I look forward to welcoming the governors and their families and the thought leaders that do attend the National Governors meetings from across the nation to Iowa on July 14th through the 17th, 2016. During my time as governor, I've attended 20 National Governors Association summer meetings. I missed one because of a family reunion with my wife's family. But other than that, I've gone to every one. And I always appreciate the opportunity to learn about what my colleagues are doing and how we can work together and learn from each other to meet the challenges that the states face. With our first in the nation caucus role, Iowans are used to welcoming national leaders to our state, and Iowa is an excellent place to discuss policies and to share best practices. We'll have some unique events that will give attendees a taste of Iowa's food and culture. We want this to be an all Iowa experience with cultural events from across the state, and we also want participants to bring their families. I took my whole family, all my children and their spouses and grandchildren, 14 of us, to West Virginia, and I can tell you they had a great time. We're planning an evening at the Iowa State Capitol building here, a night at the World Food Prize building, and fun-filled activities at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. To offset the associated costs of the summer meeting, a nonprofit organization has been established to raise private dollars. I also want to thank Paula Darenfeld, Jay Byers, and Doug Holzer, all here today, who volunteered to serve on the nonprofit board of directors in preparation for this annual meeting of the National Governors. I now want to turn it over to Dr. Dan Crippen, the Executive Director of the National Governors Association, who's done a great job, by the way, and he's going to be retiring at the end of the year. But I want to ask Dr. Crippen to share some perspective on the typical summer meeting and the value that the National Governors Organization plays in sharing best practices and building bipartisan coalitions. Dr. Crippen.
Good morning, and thank you, Governor. It's great to be back in the great state of Iowa. The governor knows that I grew up next door in South Dakota. Went to the University of South Dakota, and so we often travel to Iowa for various reasons that we may not disclose. So I want to thank you very much for inviting me today, Governor. It's a wonderful opportunity and honor to be here. As Governor just mentioned, we recently had our summer meeting in West Virginia. It was a great time, good hospitality, but importantly, wonderful meetings as well. We had a discussion with the Secretary of Health and Human Services on healthcare transformation. We had discussions with the Secretary of Labor on transition and how to do a better job of apprenticeship with your companies so that our students get employment. We talked about the illegal use of prescription drugs, use of heroin. We talked about tourism, other economic development issues. So it was a very constructive time for us, as well as an enjoyable one because of the hospitality there at Governor Thomas. We know that we'll have a similar success here with certainly your hospitality, your friendliness. It's a great pleasure to be here. One of the things about the National Governors Association is we try to bring together all parties. It's the only bipartisan association of governors, and it seems that the governors do get along quite well. They have real jobs to do, important challenges in their states, and so we do make good progress on these things. One of the things the NGA also does is tries to facilitate and share practices across states. So we have best practices we can discern and share those with all the states in hopes that some of it will help them on the same issue. Iowa was at 10 of our meetings last year. We hold about 50 meetings a year with about 3,000 state participants in the endeavor of sharing best practices. said, I was about 10 of those meetings last year. We have ongoing efforts that will have year-long efforts on each of these or many of these topics. Currently, I was involved in something called a talent pipeline, in which we try to make sure that public education matches the needs of employers, so that again, your kids can all find meaningful employment after they graduate, and your employers can stay in Iowa. As always, your governor has been a great addition for us. As an example of the best practices of Iowa, and Iowa always gives better than it gets. Healthcare reform is something all governors are interested in, whether it's Medicaid or for the employees or retirees. And your governor has spearheaded efforts here that other states are trying to copy, whether it's wellness and prevention, your state Healthiest State Initiative, Medicaid transformation, blending behavioral health and physical health. All are very important things that other states are trying to copy in the successes they're trying to copy. You may not know that your governor also serves in something called the Council of Governors, which is our primary means of dealing with the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. So negotiations, communications, always go through the council. And the governor is a stalwart protector of National Guard, for example, one of the issues we have ongoing with them all the time. It's often a little daunting to have to negotiate with the Department of Defense. They have guns. But I can tell you, I'd rather have your governor in my corner than have the Department of Defense. So wonderful things, and we thank you for that. These summer meetings the locations are picked by our executive committee. 9 other governors make this choice. We made it a little over a year ago. We'll be going through the same exercise for 2017. We were last in Iowa in 2005. So we're past due to be here, and I just wanted to thank you and the governor of the state for having us. We know it's going to be a great outing and wonderful hospitality, and we do appreciate it. So thank you.
Dan, thank you very much. We'd be glad to answer questions on this, and as well as the 3 members of the nonprofit board. Well, I don't know. Not to my knowledge, I don't think that decision has yet been made, but Jay?
To be determined. It's still under planning, and we're looking at some of the fun cultural activities that we can blend into the evening events.
Yeah, we really want to make it an all Iowa thing, and so we're the food, the entertainment, the cultural activities, fun activities for the kids as well. My children and grandchildren had a great time at actually the last 3 governors meetings in Milwaukee and in Nashville and in White Sulphur Springs, and they really want to do all they can to help make this a really kid-friendly event. And they have a lot of fond memories of when they went to these governors conferences when they were younger, and now their children are getting that opportunity. Yes. The money is raised basically from individuals and corporations. I think I'll let Doug answer.
Sure. So that's going to be one of the major roles of the nonprofit. One of the big areas we need to cover is security costs, and so that's the reason that the nonprofit has been formed to offset those costs, so it doesn't put that burden on the state and the hardworking taxpayers of the state. So in 2005, the budget was about 1.5 million, which I guess in today's dollars about 1.8 million. So it's going to be in that same ballpark. I think Milwaukee spent 2.2 million. So somewhere in that range, right in line with what other states have done.
We want to do a quality job, but we also want to be frugal. I would just point out at the last governor's meeting, we were the ones that had a minivan, and all the rest of them had much bigger vehicles. So it just kind of shows that Trooper didn't really appreciate that, but we rented a minivan, and we actually, I went to the Council of Governors meeting in DC before the meeting, and then drove from DC to to West Virginia. No, that's a separate thing. The Terrace Hill Commission has been working over decades to do restorations at Terrace Hill. And so, well, the, obviously, we are in looking at having an event for governors and their spouses at Terrace Hill. But the work that's been going on at Terrace Hill has been going on since the 1970s, and it's been kind of an ongoing project. One of the things that will be completed this summer is a new flagpole to replace the one that was on the roof, which leaked. And it just wasn't feasible. It was too expensive to try to replace it. And so a new flagpole is going to go up on the grounds, I'm told, around the 1st of September. There's also plans, the swimming pool that was there when I was governor before, we were afraid that was a hazard and it leaked and it was been too expensive to replace. So we filled it with sand, but you can see the outline of it. And I think the commission's plan is to have just a shallow reflecting pool and not a full-fledged swimming pool like there was before. There also, during the Hubble era, was a small greenhouse in the backyard. We presently have raised gardens. And by the way, we've got a lot of tomatoes right now. So if you're interested in tomatoes, we've got much more than we can eat. But they are looking at restoring that as well, the small greenhouse. But that probably will not be done by next year. No, there will be no compensation for overtime for governor staff. Well, first of all, these are all volunteers. And well, my staff might do some things to help out, but they will not be paid overtime or it can compensated additional money in any way because of it. It's just an honor to serve, I think, and to be able to host an event like this. And what we want to do is just showcase Iowa and the progress that's going on here. Des Moines, I think people are going to find to be a very surprising place with all the improvements that have been made. I mean, you see what's going on in the East Village. You see all the other things that have gone on. Of course, the Borlaug World Food Prize Hall of Laureates wasn't here in 2005. Our Capitol restoration, I think, was completed by 2005, and we're very proud of the Capitol buildings. The fairgrounds continues to get better each and every year. So I think it's just going to be a great opportunity to showcase all the good things that are going on. Well, I'm not going to choose. You know, that's kind of that is what they call a real trick question, because I want to pick sides on that, you know, because there's a lot of great bands. And yeah, I understand. And as of now, I don't have a choice. Are there other questions? Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm pleased, and I did watch the debate, and it had phenomenal viewership. I think 24 million people watched it. I think it was an all-time record for cable TV, and I thought Megan Kelly and the others performed appropriately. And if you're going to run for public office, and I've done it a few times, you got to be willing to take tough questions. And sometimes you may feel the question's inappropriate, but I don't think it's correct to react in that manner. I instead think that we should judge each of the candidates on their merits and on their stands on the issues. And I'm confident that in the end of the day, when Iowans get that opportunity, I have great confidence in the judgment of the people of the state. And I'm proud of the fact that we have a lot of candidates that are spending a lot of time working hard to meet individual Iowans personally and to answer their questions. And that's the way I think campaigns should be run. And I don't think we should be distracted from looking at and focusing on the issues because of comments that one candidate made in a debate that included 10 on that stage and 7 more in the previous event. I think the people won. I think the American people won because they got a chance to see a lot of people with various and diverse backgrounds who each had an opportunity to answer tough questions and spell out their vision for the future. And I thought the closing statements, although they were short, gave a real insight as to the candidates and what they stood for and what their priorities are. The next fiscal year. Well, I made my recommendation back on January, the second day of the legislative session, for supplemental state aid and that was 2.45% for the second year of this biennium, plus $50 million more. I think it's a little more than $50 million more for the third installment of the Teacher Leadership and Compensation Program. So that's a $150 million commitment made over three years, plus funding for the Reading Research Center, plus we are presently working to raise private money for pilot summer reading programs for third graders that are not up to speed in reading, and then intend to put money in for fiscal year that would include 2016-17 to provide additional resources for school districts so they can offer summer school to help those kids that are not up to speed in reading by the end of third grade to get there before they're moved on to fourth grade. We think it's critically important, and we made that commitment in 2012. And I think the thing that you need to recognize is when I came back as governor, I discovered that Iowa had gone from best in American student achievement in 1992 to middle of the pack. I made a commitment to try to restore Iowa's leadership position, make us best in America again. I recognize it's going to take a long-standing commitment, and we're going to have to do things differently. And that means focusing on quality teachers and making sure we have a quality teacher in every classroom, better preparing people to be teachers, and providing more opportunity for teachers to collaborate and work with each other, and better preparation for people that are coming into the profession. It also means that we needed to focus on reading and making sure that our students are achieving what they need to in reading so that they're prepared to go on and learn their other subjects when they get beyond third grade. Well, I can't make my recommendation until I have the December revenue estimate. So I told you what I recommended for the biennium, and I made it very clear, and you heard this many times at press conferences, they should pass 2-year supplemental state aid so that we have stability and predictability for our schools. The legislature didn't do that, so we have to deal with the reality of the situation. And my recommendation stands, but it could be updated depending upon what the revenue estimate in December shows. Well, I'm not going to do that. The legislature obviously doesn't seem to be able to make those kind of decisions, but it is my intention to fulfill the commitment for this biennium. And remember, this legislature really can't um, bind a subsequent legislature anyway. I would prefer that we had made the 2 year commitment to supplemental state aid so schools would have had that stability and predictability. But I do intend to, um, based on the reality of the situation, make my recommendation for that and all other areas of the budget based on the December revenue estimate. Well, the advice I've given has been pretty clear and consistent. And that is come to Iowa early and often, go to all 99 counties, meet with people and answer their questions. So I think it's great that we have a lot of candidates that have been doing that, a lot of candidates that are coming to the state fair. They have an opportunity, not just at the soapbox, but a lot of other places and venues in order to uh, speak, answer questions, and share their vision and their plans for the future. And we've got a great uh, quality of outstanding candidates. And as I said, they're diverse, you know, and I think it really represents uh, the future hope for this country. And I'm proud of our party and the quality of candidates that we have. And I also have confidence in the people of Iowa after having the opportunity to meet and ask questions and evaluate the candidates that come February, we're going to have an opportunity to choose who we think is our our choice to be the next president. Well, I was at the Iowa State Fair with Joni Ernst last year, and I could tell you, she really connected. Um, Her opponent basically was surrounded with people that prevent the public from meeting them. But people are coming up to Joni and hugging her, and she got an opportunity to interact with and talk with. And I think that was a precursor of what happened in the election. Iowans like people that are accessible, meet with them, answer their questions. Somebody that's not afraid to go to the hog barn, um, and somebody that's you know willing to flip uh, uh, pork chops or do whatever you need to do at the Iowa State Fair. But the State Fair is a cross section of Iowans, and it's a great opportunity to see Iowa talent. And I have grandchildren. They're going to be participating in uh, the various baking contests and things like that at the fair. So it's something for all ages, and it's an opportunity to meet Iowans and uh, really to see Iowans showcasing their own talents and so I think it's a really good thing, and I certainly encourage candidates to come and maybe come more than once. I certainly intend to spend a lot of time at the fair as I do every year. Looking forward to it. We hope it'll be a record-breaking year. The Governor's Charity Steer Show. And last year, the lieutenant governor beat me. So I'm I'm a very competitive guy, as is the lieutenant governor. So we'll be competing, but there's a lot of other people. I've got a steer this year from Muscatine County, which the Iowa Cattlemen's Association and the Beef Industry Council tells me is a really great steer. So I'm hopeful. Uh, Joni Ernst is going to be showing a steer. Not any presidential candidates that I'm aware of. But, well, actually, I think the candidates are appreciative of the opportunity to travel throughout the state of Iowa, put their own schedule together, and not spend a whole lot of money on just one event. So I think the the fact that and every day we have candidates that are here, often multiple candidates, having meetings all across the state. I think the attendance has been good. The enthusiasm is there, and I'm really excited. I think the Republicans have a great opportunity in 2016, as we did in 2014, to do very well in this state. And I also have great confidence that the Iowa voters are going to take this responsibility seriously, and hopefully we'll get a great turnout. Well, the straw poll, to some degree, winnowed the field, and some people feel that maybe some people like Governor Pawlenty dropped out early because of the straw poll results. Now, so I don't think you're going to have that kind of result this time. Instead, but I think many candidates that maybe aren't running as high in the national polls are putting extra effort into Iowa. People like Governor Perry and Governor Jindal. And I think they may surprise some people about how well they do. Another would be Dr. Ben Carson. They're all, I think, in Carly Fiorina. All of them, I think, have made great impressions and are running really good campaigns in the state of Iowa, as are others. Governor Walker's going to every county, and you can go through the list. Governor Bush is here, as are many of the others. So I know he's coming to the Iowa State Fair, and that's been my advice to all of them. Some of them have spent more time than others, but Iowans tend to reward people that work hard and that are available and accessible and answer their questions. And there's still a long time between now and February. And the smartest thing I think a candidate can do is work hard, build a good organization, and work to try to peak on caucus day. Well, first I want to compliment Craig Paulson on being an outstanding speaker. And even before he was speaker, when he was a minority leader, he helped stop some job-killing bills from getting through. He was able to unite his caucus and be able to get the support of 6 Democrats that stopped those job-killing measures. Then he became the speaker at the same time that Lieutenant Governor Reynolds and I came into office, and he helped us get the state's financial house in order and restore the cash reserve and economic emergency account, and pass historic property tax relief, the education reform, the teacher leadership and compensation program, the Iowa Health and Wellness Plan, and the redesign of the mental health system. So I think he's got a record as speaker that is truly outstanding. He's been one that's been able to accomplish great things in a very difficult environment with the split legislature. And I respect his decision not to run again and to step down as speaker. I think he did that in the interest of his caucus and the party and the state. I've enjoyed working with him and Linda Upmeyer, the majority leader, for the last 5 years. And we respect the fact that the caucus will choose its own speaker, and I think they're going to do that in the very near future. Well, I think they all should have an opportunity to participate in the debates. Okay, thank you very much.